Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to episode 20A of Opening Basics. I want to do this quick video as an addendum to the previous video. In Opening Basics 20, I was looking at the Petrov defense, or the Russian game as it's sometimes called. And I mentioned the Cochrane gambit, and I just wanted to follow up on one point that I made. Actually, I didn't make it in the video. I made it in the comment afterwards. I realized I left out one point. So I just thought I would make this short video, talk a little bit about the Cochrane gambit, and cover up that point that I forgot to include in the previous video. So let's get to it. The Russian game is e4, e5, knight f3 attacking the center pawn, and knight f6 with the counterattack. And the main line goes knight takes e5, and d6 to chase the knight back. And the Cochrane gambit is knight takes f7. So the earliest record I have of this in chessgames.com is a game between John Cochrane, hence the name Cochrane gambit. He played it quite a lot, too, in this match. He was playing a match. John Cochrane was an English barrister, a lawyer, stationed in India. And he was playing a match against a top Indian chess player whose name is given as Banerjee Mohashunder in the description of the game. Although someone from India commented in the description, in the comment section underneath the game, that actually in modern terms he would be called Mahesh Chandra Banerjee. So Banerjee is really the last name, although it comes first in India, and then his first name is really Mahesh. And Mahesh Chandra would be written as two names rather than Mohashunder or Mohesh Chandra. I don't know how they intended that to be pronounced. Anyway, Mahesh was a good player too. He's not quite as strong as Cochrane, so Cochrane had the best of that in that match. But those games are interesting to look at. First of all, John Cochrane's games are interesting because he was a fierce attacking player, and he has lots of creative combinations in his games. And this, I suppose, you can think of as one of them. And Mahesh Banerjee, played a lot of Indian defenses, they're called today. And the name actually comes from this match. These are moves where he played knight to f6 in response to d4. And so the King's Indian, the Queen's Indian, the Nimzo Indian, all of these Indian defenses actually derive their name from this match played back in the middle of the 19th century. So I'll include a pointer to the 1848 game in the description. You could go check that out if you want to. Okay, so let's talk about this position. What is White doing here? He's sacrificing a whole knight. And this sacrifice is similar to the knight sacrifices in the King's Gambit, the Algaer sacrifice or the Muzio Gambit, where White gives up a whole piece, but he gets a fair amount of compensation. It's not considered completely adequate, so probably Black should be better after this. But it can be very tricky to play, and there is quite a lot of compensation. And after King takes f7, the main move here is d4. And what I forgot to mention here is that the move knight takes e4 can't really be played here. And I just wanted to illustrate this because it shows some of the attacking ideas. If White tries to grab the pawn, Black tries to grab the pawn, then you have this queen h5 check. So you're developing your pieces quickly. You've got open lines for your pieces, and this knight is a bit stranded out here. g6 is pretty much forced. If the king tries to run away, say king to e7, then you can pin and win the knight with queen back to e2. So that's no good. g6 is the best try for Black here. And then you've got this queen d5 check, once again winning the knight. So in all of these variations, yeah, and it's good to go ahead and take the knight here. In all of these variations, White is winning. So it's better for Black not to take that pawn, and that's the main thing the main point I wanted to make, as well as to illustrate that tactic, the queen h5 check. What you're taking advantage of is that when you've sacrificed the knight in f7, you've opened a line. You've pulled Black's king away from his safe position in the back of the board, exposed him. But you've also opened this diagonal, so he's going to have trouble finding a safe home. And the second point is you get a lot of center influence with these pawns. Just going back to Cochrane, actually the way Cochrane played this is with the move bishop to b4 check. Not considered the best way to play anymore, but also leading to some interesting play. You'll see he gets quite a lot of compensation with just direct attacking play. The king can go back to e8 or d5 can be played to try and block the check. I think if we block... Oh, but in this position, once again, d5 is a good move here, and you have strong center influence. I think what black should try in this position is probably the move d5, trying to shut down the diagonal. And then it's funny that, so this offers another pawn. And with 2 pawns for the piece, you're doing pretty well. You almost have compensation, but actually it's better to drop the bishop back, maintain the pin, and follow up with d4 maybe, or e5 perhaps, if the pawn is left here, kicking the knight away and getting your pieces out. But anyway, that's what you're playing for in this game. One other thing I noticed when I was looking through the database is that, speaking of grandmasters who play this, Nigel Short would often play this in simultaneous exhibits. So probably he's looking for ways to quickly knock out the weaker players. And he would play different moves. He would sometimes play the bishop check line. He would also play the move knight to c3 and d4. So all of these moves are playable here. And your compensation, I would say, is not adequate. So I wouldn't try this in a tournament game or a really serious game. But you can have a lot of fun playing around with it. And there are still players who play this in tournament games and think it's good, although they're generally not the top-rated players. There's still some quite strong IMs that play this way. So it's interesting. So that's all I want to do, a quick video on the Cochrane Gambit. I wanted to encourage you guys to go out and experiment with it on your own, and I just wanted to point out that Queen H5 check resource is very important if black tries to grab the e-pawn. Okay, see you again soon. Bye.